Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio, so today I'm going to be showing you another new Pokémon GX. It's Tapu Fini. Now, one important thing to note at the beginning, this is coming out in Japan in the Sun and Moon 2 Strengthening Expansion Pack. That means it will not be part of our Guardians Rising set in May, because the Sun and Moon 1 Strengthening Expansion Pack is coming into that set. This is going to be coming out in our August set, which is going to be legal for the very first time at the first day of the World Championships in August, which is going to be very exciting. So, is Tapu Fini going to be a card people are going to be playing at Worlds? Well, first things first, why do we get all the Guardians in Guardians Rising other than Tapu Fini? What did Tapu Fini do to annoy Pokemon? Okay, I've got that out of the way. Now, in terms of the water typing, this is quite nice because, of course, Decidueye is really big at the moment, which means a lot of people are going to start playing decks like Volcanion, which means that water cards like Tapu Fini will have an advantage. It means you can use Rough Seas to heal 30 damage per turn. Oh yeah, and Aqua Patch. Now, I did a video about Aqua Patch recently, and I told you it's an amazing card which is going to change the game, and I was right, or at least I strongly believe I was right. We won't know until it's actually released, but it means that you can, it's just like Dark Patch, but for water Pokemon. Attach your water energy from your discard pile to one of your benched water Pokemon. So it means that the attacks of Tapu Fini are going to be much easier to get going. Now, Tapu Fini is a basic, so fighting Fury Belt to up the HP and do a bit more damage, and Max Elixir to accelerate energy from your deck are both in play. And the real question is here, if we're playing a water toolbox deck using cards like Lapras and maybe Wishy Washy, like I talked about in my Aqua Patch video, do we want to be playing Tapu Fini? Now, the good news is, there's no confirmation yet, but we assume Tapu Fini's not going to have a weakness because none of the other Guardians did. And for a single colourless energy, you can do 20 damage. Now, 20 damage isn't very much, but a single energy attack on a basic means that you can use it turn 1, and it's fairly useful, and it's not too bad. It's not amazing, but it's not a bad start for Tapu Fini. And of course, if you pop a choice band on Tapu Fini, doing 30 more damage to EXs and GXs, then it means it will do 50 to an EX or a GX, or I suppose 100 to a water weak EX or GX, like something like Volcanion. So I suppose 1 energy, 2 hit KOing Volcanion's not too bad. Now, the main attack here is Hydro Shoot. 2 water, 1 colourless energy, and you can discard 2 water energy attached to Tapu Fini and do 120 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Now, it's good that it does 120, not 100, because basically here, it's for knocking out bench Shaymins. And that really is the main use for Tapu Fini as far as I can see. Comment section, of course, if you spotted something I haven't. It's really nice for sniping Shaymins, but you're not going to win the whole game by sniping Shaymins. How do I know this? Mega Latios EX had basically the same attack. Free energy, discard 2 of them, snipe for 120. Now, to be fair, Mega Latios was a Mega EX, not a basic. But Mega Latios could just use Double Dragon to discard and snipe. Well, Tapu Fini can't do that. You've got to have 2 energy, and that's a real problem. And not only 2 energy, but 2 water energy. So unlike Ninetales GX that we talked about a couple of days ago, you can't attach a double colourless energy and discard it here. It's got to be 2 water energy. Now, I know that you've got Aqua Patch to attach the energy, but like I said in the Ninetales video, if you've got to discard 2 energy every time you attack, sooner or later, you're just not going to have the energy to do this. And that's the problem. When we saw Mega Latios EX, we all thought, snipe free Shaymin, win the game. Now, firstly, your opponent can just make sure they don't bench Shaymin, or use something like a Parallel City to discard their Shaymin if you're playing Tapu Fini, but it's just not sustainable for the whole game. Now, there is a pretty good GX attack here, although it is restricted. 1 water energy, so if nothing else, it's a basic Pokemon who has a 1 energy GX attack, so I can see this as a one-of in water box decks just for the single energy GX attack. What does it do? Shuffle your opponent's active Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your opponent's deck. The kicker is that if your opponent has no bench Pokemon, you can't do it and the attack fails. So you can't use this to win the game. Shuffle the active into the deck and then they've got no bench, so you win. In a similar way to how you can use Pinsir from Sun and Moon to win the game on a coin flip if your opponent has no benched Pokemon. But if your opponent, let's say they've got a Decidueye GX with free energy in the active, then you shuffle the Decidueye and all the pre-evolutions and all the energy into your opponent's deck. You put them behind a turn or two. And yeah, they can probably use Forest of Giant Plants to evolve the Decidueye back up again when they draw it all from their deck. That's a lot of fun. But here's the thing, and I've got to give a shout out here to my boy Beware. Beware GX has a very similar GX attack. You discard your opponent's active Pokemon rather than putting it into the deck. And you can use this when your opponent doesn't have a bench. So you can use this to win the game with Beware. You can't with Tapu Fini. Although, to be fair, Beware GX does do it for 4 energy on a stage 1 rather than a single energy on a basic. So, how does Tapu Fini match up here? It's not great. Really, if I'm playing in a water box deck, I want things like Lapras and Wishy Washy over things like this, or indeed Primarina GX for the really nice attack. However, as a one-off, I love Tapu Fini. Use things like Aqua Patch to get free energy on, and then Sniper Shaymin for your last 2 prizes of the game. Your opponent's got a threat in the active you can't deal with. Single energy on a basic GX to get rid of that threat. Only 1 GX attack of any description per game, remember. I don't love Tapu Fini as an attacker. I do not love it as a basis for a deck. But given that it's literally 1 card in your deck to play a one-of tech, if I'm playing a water box deck, or pretty much any water deck, I love Tapu Fini as a one-off. So let's give Tapu Fini 3 Wassies. It's not a game-breaking card, but as a tech in some decks, it could be quite a lot of fun. Now, you know the deal, ladies and gentlemen. There is a comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. There are buttons to both like this video and subscribe to this channel. I would be delighted if you would use them both. You can follow me on Twitter @TheWassie. And the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.